Welcome back to our channel where we share updates and untold stories about Catherine, Princess of Wales and her royal family. Today we bring you some significant news. Royal in shock, royal nurse exposed King Charles's hidden children. An insider source has made the claim that a former royal nurse has made charges that King Charles is the father of a hidden love child, which has produced a crisis inside the monarchy. The allegations have forced the monarchy to be in a dire situation. The allegations of a hidden romance involving King Charles III, which culminated in the birth of a secret child in the early 1980s, have been made public by a former royal nurse who has also come out with specific allegations. The British royal family has been thrown into disarray as a result of this finding, which has generated a bombshell disclosure that has caused significant damage to the royal family. As a consequence of the allegations, Queen Camilla has been left in tears. These allegations include the likelihood that historical papers have been tampered with and the suspicion that there was a cover-up carried out by the palace. Additionally, as a result of these charges, a comprehensive investigation into the history of the monarchy has been implemented. In spite of the fact that the allegations have been categorically denied by officials at the palace, who have referred to them as baseless and unsubstantiated, the story has already garnered several headlines all around the globe and calls for transparency. In order to protect her identity, the nurse chose to speak anonymously and provide a first-hand account of events that, if shown to be true, had the potential to undermine the royal bloodline and raise concerns over the transfer of power. The material that she revealed, which was shared in an exclusive interview with this publication, reveals a birth that took place in secret documentation that was forged in a child who was taken away in order to avert shame. All of these things were done in order to avoid seeming foolish. In the course of the story's progression, it comes into touch with the horrible legacy left behind by Princess Diana, the lasting influence of Queen Camilla, and the current Prince of Wales William, who allegedly became aware of the allegations a number of years ago. This research combines together the comments made by the nurse, the historical background, the interpretation of specialists, and the reactions of the general public in order to piece together a tale that has been simmering in royal circles for decades. Therein lies the story. The revelations have resulted in investigations by the judiciary, storms on social media, and even parliamentary talks over the accountability of the monarchy of the United Kingdom. These things have occurred as a result of the discoveries, despite the fact that the palace has chosen not to respond beyond its declarations of denial. In the testimony of the nurse, a secret that has been kept hidden for decades is finally revealed. Through the period of almost 4 decades, the former royal nurse has remained silent on what she regards to be one of the most closely kept secrets in the annals of Buckingham Palace's long and illustrious history. The nurse, who is now in her 70s and has worked in high-security medical roles on royal estates, has said that she feels compelled to openly share her viewpoint. She has worked in these positions for over 3 decades. For my own protection, it was essential that I keep the information a secret. I am, on the other hand, an older person at this point in time. Nothing is at stake for me in this situation. Individuals have the right to be informed of the truth. This journalist was provided with a recording of an interview in which she said that the palace had broken the truth. Throughout the course of her story, the major emphasis is on an affair that took place between Prince Charles, who was the king at the time, and a young aristocratic figure from outside the United Kingdom, who was only referred to as S. It was in the late 1970s, when Charles was under a tremendous deal of pressure to get married and have children, that the nurse asserts the connection between the two of them began. After attaining the age of 30, Charles was the most eligible bachelor in the world at the time. Queen Elizabeth II and Prince Philip were keeping a tight watch on him. Charles was the most eligible bachelor in the world. They counseled him to look for a spouse and have a family as soon as possible. The nurse asserts that S became pregnant between the years 1979 and 1981 as a consequence of the events that took place inside the royal building. She continued by saying that it was all about damage control. The topics of marriage and recognition were not brought up in the talk. It did not matter. Seeking a peaceful resolution to the issue was the objective of the situation. It is her assertion that she was there for the birth which took place at a high-security medical facility situated in the English countryside. This facility is situated a considerable distance away from both public hospitals and Royal Medical Wings. She continued by stating that the location was entirely off the map and that the workers had to sign lifelong confidentiality agreements with the company. She arrived in the middle of the night accompanied by assistants and a private physician, according to the nurse's statement, which includes a lot of details that make a vivid image. According to the nurse's recall, she was terrified asking about the future of the baby. Not a single celebration took place at the time of the birth of the kid who turned out to be a healthy boy. It is not possible to find any records or a birth certificate. The ears, the nose, and the eyes were all quite similar to one another, which was something that all of us noted. There was no denying it. According to her, the child was taken from the facility and sent to a secluded estate that was owned by a royal ally around 48 hours after the incident occurred. They fabricated a birth certificate with fictitious parents who were not really there. Without a trace, the mother was sent to a different country, and that was the end of it. The nurse highlighted that top palace authorities were engaged in the surgery, which included directives from Charles's advisors and probably Prince Philip, in order to guarantee that the kid was removed from official records. Not for the first time have rumors of this kind been brought to light. The notion that Charles is involved in extramarital relationships has been going on since the 1970s, and it is often disregarded as sensationalism. However, the nurse's narrative stands out due to the detail of the information that she provides, which includes dates, places, and insider information that can only be provided by someone who has direct access. It has been observed by specialists such as Dr. Emily Kensington, a royal historian from the University of London, that such particulars provide legitimacy to the information. There is more to this than just hearsay, Kensington said. If it is possible to verify it, it has the potential to completely alter the narrative of the monarchy. The scandal is surrounded by a complex web of rumors and demands from the royal family. To comprehend the assertions made by the nurse, it is necessary to rewind to the difficult years that Prince Charles spent as a child. When the 1970s came to a close, Charles was under increasing pressure to marry in order to ensure his place in the line of succession. At the time, Queen Elizabeth II was at the height of her power, and Prince Philip placed a strong emphasis on tradition. They anticipated that Charles would choose a suitable wife from the British nobility. However, Charles's personal life was complicated by his long-term connection with Camilla Parker Bowles, who was married at the time. Camilla Parker Bowles is now known as Queen Camilla. During this time period, historians have described Charles as being one of his most restless. When he was on state visits and charity tours, he was known to the public as the Dashing Prince. Behind closed doors, he maneuvered through a number of entanglements. It has been reported by Andrew Morton, a biographer and author of Diana, Her True Story, that Charles engaged in several romances during this time period. These affairs included relationships with women whose backgrounds were judged inappropriate by the palace. The nurse's description of S matches this pattern. She is a foreign national who comes from an aristocratic family. She is brilliant and educated, yet she does not correspond with the desires of the palace. Under the pretense of charitable activities, the nurse said that their gatherings were conducted in a discreet manner, but things rapidly became very serious. It is her contention that the romance was short but passionate, and that it came to an abrupt stop when it was found that S was pregnant. The pre-marriage years of Charles are given a new dimension as a result of this discovery. The wedding of Prince Charles and Princess Diana took place in 1981 in St. Paul's Cathedral, and it was a royal wedding that the whole world saw. Diana, a kindergarten teacher who was 20 years old, was considered to be the ideal candidate since she was young British and unspoiled. However, the nurse's testimony implies that there is a cloud hanging over that union a kid who was born either soon before or during the time that Charles was courting Diana. Legal professionals such as Professor Jonathan Hale from Cambridge University have brought attention to the possible repercussions of this situation. According to Hale's explanation, if this child exists and can prove paternity, it could challenge the succession and bring it into question under British law. Furthermore, despite the fact that the 1701 Act of Settlement gives priority to rightful heirs, an unrecognized child has the potential to create arguments regarding legitimacy and royal claims. Concerning the disappearance of Princess Diana's diary, there are certain suspects that have been raised. It is possible that the most shocking component of the nurse's account is the one that concerns Princess Diana, who passed away in a car accident in Paris in the year 1997. Paul Burrell, Diana's former butler, claims that Diana was a perceptive observer of the dynamics of the palace, despite the fact that she was often depicted as being naive. In his book, A Royal Duty, which was published in 2003, Burrell referred to Diana as intuitive and perceptive, implying that she was able to detect secrets. In 1995, when I was attending a party at Kensington Palace, I had a brief contact with Diana. It is thought that Diana began piecing together the facts in the middle of the 1990s. The nurse revealed that she had a brief encounter with Diana. As she glanced at me, she seemed to be experiencing a knowing sadness, as if she could sense that I was carrying a weight. Her expression was one of knowing anguish. It is said that Diana's private notebooks, which were kept apart from those that were published in tabloids, had references to a boy who should have been a part of this family. This information has been reported. According to people close to Diana, who addressed the topic on the condition of anonymity, Diana was conducting an inquiry into anomalies at the time her discussions took place. One of the sources claims that she was able to catch up on whispers, which were conversations that took place between Camilla and her assistants, and that included references to a child and locations such as Canada. The following is an excerpt from Diana's journal that was leaked, and it was repeated by the nurse. "There is a baby, I have no doubt about that. No, neither Camilla nor we own it. Whatever it is that Charles is keeping concealed, I, along with the entire public and history, had him snatched away from me. A suspicion has been fostered as a result of the loss of the diaries following Diana's death. During the inventory of her estate that was conducted by the palace, Burrell made it known to the public that important papers were misplaced. When asked about it by the BBC in 2002, he said, 'It was done quickly and silently.' According to the nurse, if Diana's notes included mention of the kid, this may be an indication that a purposeful cover-up was carried out." Dr. Sarah Fielding, a specialist on royal affairs who works at Oxford University, offers her opinion. Diana's death left many questions unanswered. In the event that she was aware of this, it would add a sad dimension to the situation. Did her search for the truth put her in danger? There have been requests for a re-examination of Diana's files, but the palace has rejected such thoughts as conspiracy theories. However, the nurse's testimony has revived these concerns. What does it mean that a cover-up of Queen Camilla's alleged role has been revealed? The nurse's account of Queen Camilla's participation paints a picture of her as a significant contributor to the concealment of the information. Since becoming Queen Consort in 2023, Camilla has been working to restore her reputation, which has been undermined for a long time due to the fact that she had an affair with Charles when he was married to Diana. A distinct image is painted by the nurse on the other hand. Almost immediately, Camilla became aware of the situation, and she made it her mission to eliminate any trace, the nurse said. She claims that Camilla made use of her network of assistants in order to guarantee that the kid was deleted from the records of the royal family. A confidant of Camilla's reached out to me several years later, suggesting that I should forget all that had happened. It was not overt, but it was obvious. Camilla's actions were reportedly driven by jealousy and a desire to protect Charles's future, as stated by certain individuals who are familiar with the matter. A person who had worked at the palace in the past and requested to remain nameless said, "She fought for his attention for years. The existence of a child from a different woman presented a threat to the palace." The nurse alleges that Camilla was the one who was responsible for using legal maneuvers, such as clauses in royal trust agreements that prohibited illegitimate heirs from submitting claims. Although Camilla's representatives have not responded to requests for comment, insiders assert that she was devastated by the allegations and that she was reportedly seen sobbing during private meetings. The hashtag #HaShNotMyQueen has been brought back to life by users of social media, which is an indication that the feeling of the general people has begun to shift against her. Activist Laura Simmons said, "This isn't just about Charles, it's about Camilla's role in silencing the past." This statement was made in an interview that took place not too long ago. The identification of the youngster may be traced back to a series of hints and rumors that have been circulating. On the off chance that the child does in fact exist, where exactly is he at this very moment? As far as the nurse is concerned, he was adopted and relocated to a different area, most likely to either Canada or Australia. According to what she stated, he was taken abroad in order to keep him away from the throne. According to the results of investigative journalists who explored leads, pieces have been unearthed that suggest a person in his 40s who resembled Charles was living under a distinct identity. An individual who had previously worked as a groundskeeper for the royal family revealed an image of a man who was present at a charity event in Australia in the year 2012. The first piece of proof was this particular item. When the photos were studied by forensic experts, they discovered that they bore a striking similarity to a younger version of Charles. It was said by Dr. Mark Ellis, a geneticist from King's College London, that the ears and the jawline are inherently distinct traits due to their genetic makeup. Due to the fact that it is not a relative, the risk is quite low. After doing more research, it was discovered that there were connections to a British trust that was associated with Charles's legal representation. Before he vanished in the 1990s, a young man who went by the nickname Daniel was attending a boarding school in Canada. He continued his education there until he vanished. He received payments from London accounts, said Jane Harper, an independent researcher who has been researching the facts surrounding the case. He received payment after payment from London accounts. True. A DNA test, for example, has not produced any evidence that can be regarded as definitive, despite the fact that these leads have been presented. Conjecture that has been fueled by the palace's silence has only helped to deepen as a result of the fact that online forums are buzzing with similarities and speculations. The royal family has conveyed their sorrow and remained silent in response. The response that Prince William has given has been described as one of quiet grief, according to several individuals who are aware of the issue. According to the sources, he reportedly learned about the allegations by reading those private letters that Diana had written. In the words of one of the former aides, "It was like a door closing." Despite the fact that he addressed Charles, he placed a bigger focus on protecting his family. As a result of the fact that she views it as an extra duty for their children, it has been said that Kate Middleton, the Princess of Wales, shares the same viewpoint. According to a member of the family who talked with this website, it's sadness, never anger. Despite the fact that King Charles, who is now 75 years old, has not publicly addressed the allegations, those who are familiar with the situation describe an internal panic. Various sources indicate that legal teams are already in the process of preparing for future challenges that may involve DNA verification. The reaction from the general population, as well as the consequences on a global scale. The story has become very popular on the internet, and the hashtag Dr. Charles Secret Son is now trending in every region of the world. Additionally, rallies have taken place in front of Buckingham Palace, in addition to the almost 500,000 signatures that have been gathered on petitions that have been submitted in an effort to compel openness. It was one of the protesters who cried out the words, "We want the truth, not fairy tales," during the demonstration. In spite of the fact that studies indicate a lower level of support for the monarchy, the drama has been highlighted by several media outlets in the United States, including CNN. Dr. Kensington made the following comment in his statement: "This could be the tipping point. The general public is putting pressure on an institution that was established on the principle of secrecy to be truthful." Within the palace's countermeasures, containment, and crisis management are considered. Authorities at the palace have disputed the allegations, stating that these claims are entirely without foundation. Sources have confirmed that efforts are being undertaken behind the scenes to verify DNA in a clandestine way. However, the results have not yet determined whether or not the allegations are true. As the tale continues to gain interest, specialists are sounding the alarm about the existence of a potentially catastrophic threat. According to Professor Hale, the monarchy needs a solution to this problem, or else it runs the risk of incurring damage that cannot be changed. This leads to the conclusion that the monarchy is now at a crossroads. In the end, this matter is about more than simply a child who was kept a secret. It is about the truth about legacy and about taking responsibility for one's actions. During this time when the whole world is waiting for answers, there is one thing that is crystal clear. The tranquility of the palace could no longer be enough. In the event that the truth is brought to light, it has the potential to drastically alter the course of history regarding the royal family. Thank you for watching the video. Please let us know your thoughts, and goodbye for now.